It's time for the opening race of the fourth season of Marbula 1 at the Razway. The O'Rangers are defending Marbula 1 champions. Rizzy, Iceberg, and Blue Eye are in Marbula 1, and Cloudy is making their Marbula 1 debut. Them and one of the best to ever do it, Speedy, are battling for the race win. I'm sure most of you know what happens next, but while we may not have known at the time, this moment changed the course of Yellow's Marble Run's history. It's easy to forget nowadays, but Cloudy for most of their history was the forgettable marble on the Hazers. They were introduced along with the rest of the Hazers in 2018 as the reserve, and being stuck behind the Hazers' legendary Big Three, Hazy, Misty, and Smoggy, it took a while for Cloudy to get a chance to prove themselves. Here's the question. How many total events, team or individual, did Cloudy compete in throughout their first 4 Marble Leagues? A hint, the Hazers competed in 60 events throughout this span. Maybe half of them, maybe 50 or 20? Nope. A grand total of 8. It would have been impossible to guess that this marble would eventually become the face of the franchise. But heading into Marbula 1 Season 4, a window emerged for a different Hazer to prove themselves. There were many fans who feared after a dreadful Marbula 1 Season 3 that the Hazers would get the boot. But that didn't happen, and they were invited back. Hazy, who had just gone on sabbatical, was obviously not going to be selected. But Smoggy was still a top 10 marble, and everyone expected it to be Misty and Smoggy for Season 4. That, however, did not happen. It's a selection that really did not make any sense at the time. Cloudy had done exactly one individual competition in their entire career up to that point, and that was a Funnel Endurance Showdown appearance. But all of the fans who were shocked and angered by the decision would be silenced on opening weekend.
Hairpin in front of the grandstands. Cloudy goes around the outside, and an impact there does the same thing to Speedy, which sends that marble going backward. Perfectly timed, Cloudy will win the opening Grand Prix and their first ever Marbula 1 race.
If Cloudy never did anything remarkable in Marbula 1 again, this would still be an incredible story. But that was not the case. And this spark turned into an incredible resurgence for the Hazers. Misty struggled at the Raceway, but bounced back with a strong showing at Sakura Garden, finishing 3rd. In the next race, Cloudy qualified poorly back in 15th. But I kid you not, on the very first lap, they climbed from 15th to 3rd, and that's where they ended up finishing. Misty finished 6th at the Tumult Turnpike, which kept the Hazers in 2nd overall. The next race would be at the same track the Hazers scored their only Season 3 win at, Slate Street. And here, for the first time, Cloudy would battle it out with the best racer Marbula 1 has to offer. And on pure speed, Cloudy outraced the GOAT that day, culminating in the 2nd win of their incredible start to their career. This pushed the Hazers back to the top of the standings for the first time since the very beginning. Perhaps because of their overwhelming success to start the year, Cloudy was picked to race in front of their home fans at Misty Mountain. It was Cloudy's worst race of the season to this point, though. That sounds bad, until you realize they qualified 3rd and finished 4th. Despite this incredible stretch, the Hazers were still not free and clear in first place. Still only just 9 points ahead of the Savage Speeders. Misty didn't have their best race at the Electron Expressway, but it was a good enough performance to keep the lead by 6 points. For the penultimate race, the Hazers sent Cloudy to deliver the knockout punch. And then disaster struck at Stardust Accelerator. They just barely missed Q2, qualifying 11th, and despite initial gains, fell back through the field to finish a crushing 15th. The Hazers did still own a tiebreak over the Speeders in team primary for the overall lead, But everyone now understood they were fated to lose the title at the last second again, and everyone was absolutely right. Misty finished 17th in the finale, which not only meant the Hazers wouldn't win the championship, they fell off the overall podium entirely. Despite the heart-wrenching way Season 4 ended, the Hazers felt like they had found something, and rightfully so. Heading into Season 5, there was every reason to believe the Hazers would be title contenders again, so they ran it back with Cloudy and Misty. It got off to a mildly disappointing start, though. Misty finished 11th in their first race, and then Cloudy finished 9th in theirs. Cloudy did finish 5th at the old raceway, but 4 races in, the team was in 11th overall. Entirely mediocre nearly halfway through the season. That's when the Hazers put it into overdrive and immediately turned the season around. Cloudy won pole and finished 3rd at Sakura Garden, which sent the team from 11th up to 4th in the standings. Misty's so near win at the Limelight Harbor helped the team further, and they entered the top 3 for the first time all season. Cloudy kept the momentum going with a 3rd place finish at Aquamarine, which got the Hazers within 12 points of the leading Crazy Cat's Eyes. Unfortunately, the late season rally hopes ended after Misty had a dreadful race at P-Mine Tunnel, which just about took the Hazers out of contention. Cloudy finished 3rd again at the Savage Speedway, but Red Eye finished 2nd. The Hazers were still mathematically eligible for heading into the finale, but they needed a miracle that never came up. But Misty's 8th place finish in the final race was enough to yield the Hazers the overall podium that they didn't quite get in Season 4. But it's at this point where the other main character joins the story. Most fans expected to once again return Cloudy and Misty, and rightfully so. Only one time until this point had a team made an M1 roster change after an overall podium, and that one didn't exactly go well. But after 2 seasons of Misty, the team made a clear move that signaled they wanted a championship, bringing back Smoggy to replace the team's captain for Season 6. However, it would be Cloudy stealing the show at the opening race at Sakura Garden.
For Cloudy. Out of the hairpin, this may be Pinky's last chance. Cloudy says, not today. Cloudy for the Hazers wins the opening Grand Prix of Season 6 of Marbula 1.
The Hazers shot out the gate far better than the competition, and this time Cloudy's teammate was up to the task of keeping it up. Smoggy brought home 2nd at the Savage Speedway with fastest lap to boot, and then another medal, 3rd at Sparkle Central. All of a sudden, the Hazers held a 15-point lead through just 3 races and were off to a historically good start. That huge lead lasted a grand total of 0 races. Red Eye took the pole to the win at Aquamarine, and despite a respectable 9th place finish from Cloudy, the CCEs took the lead away. And things went from bad to worse at Greenstone. Yellow Eye also took the pole to the win, and all of a sudden, in just 2 races, it went from a 15-point Hazers lead to a 34-point Crazy Cat's Eyes lead. This sent a clear message across the Marbleverse. It was all over. Or was it?
In 4th, gotten in front of Indy, whose chances for a podium, it seems like, have all but disappeared. Smoggy through the S's for the final time. Our first time here at Orion's Belt. Glimmer in 2nd. A gap back to Billy, who now has Red Eye in between Glimmer and Billy. Smoggy out of the final turns. Will slide on through and take the win.
That win put the Hazers back in the mix, just 13 points back. Next up would be the home track, Misty Mountain. And Cloudy decided that once again, it was their time.
Can celebrate now. Teammate Hazy won at Misty Mountain in Season 2. Cloudy wins it at home in Season 6.
As if to shut up the "it's over" narrative, the Hazers were right back in the lead. But this lead wouldn't hold either. Red Eye had one of his best tracks up next, the Electron Expressway, and he took the win. Despite a good effort from Smoggy, the CCEs reclaimed the lead by 3 points with 2 to play. The Speeders and Snowballs were still mathematically eligible, but for all intents and purposes, it would be between these two teams. In the penultimate race at Castle Howell, Smoggy qualified up in third with Yellow Eye in the mid-pack. But after a great start, even leading early on, Smoggy slipped throughout the race. A late race surge was enough for a 5th place finish, but with Yellow Eye taking third, the Cats would extend their lead to 8 points heading into the finale. And of course, it's the same track that Red Eye won at in Season 4, Casino Square. But Cloudy was up to the task, and they sent a clear message in qualifying.
And is now back into 7th. 1 lap to go. This would be huge for Cloudy. Bumble is being cheered on, but doesn't really want it right now. Is trying to focus because Ruzzy is right there. Ruzzy looks to the outside. They bound off of the curbs together. This is letting Cloudy disappear into the distance. Let those 2 marbles fight away. Red Eye has gained 1 position back up to 6th. That's 3rd row, but 1 turn to go. Cloudy does it. Starts the weekend about as well as you can when you're chasing a championship.
The title was far from lost. Now down by just 5 points and starting on pole, the impossible looks very, very possible. Cloudy briefly fell back after starting on pole and at one point was just 1 spot in front of Red Eye. But Cloudy would bounce back and take the lead by lap 4. Meanwhile, Red Eye continued to fall down the order to the shock of everyone. While Cloudy was leading laps up front, Red Eye fell as far as 15th in the order. But because this is Red Eye, he would not go away silently. First climbing into the mid-pack, and then firmly in the battle for a podium finish. But with Cloudy having the fastest lap to his credit, all they needed to do was hold on to P1.
Good poise by that marble to keep going. That could have been disastrous. Snowy is moved up into 2nd spot, holding back Shimmer and Yellow. Cloudy, half a lap to go en route to a championship. Red Eye in 6th, desperately trying but loses a position to Mallard. Red Eye comes back. Here's Cloudy, a quick pick off of the wall. Cloudy recovers into Sector 3 in the final turns. Cloudy wins it. And with Red Eye finishing in 6th, Cloudy has brought the Hazers a championship. The Haze have amazed. 1 and 2 in the racer standings, and they have also just set the record for most number of points for a team in Marbula 1 history.